welcome to Thanks Academy, the podcast where I'm watching every Best Picture winner in random order with a random friend. My name's Karina Magyar, and my random friend today is Mike MacRae.
Hi, Karina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Today we're going to watch, and this is completely unexpected, but I found this out after you came over that you have not seen this movie, and I got so excited. Today we are going to watch fucking Rocky.
Yeah, man. Rocky. I've never seen it.
I've never seen Rocky. I've seen Rocky.
Well, yeah, most people have.
And that's why I gave up on, I thought this was going to be one where we wouldn't stick to the whole complete ignorance. Because that's the whole fun of this podcast, is that we speak from complete ignorance and people get frustrated, I think, and yell at the radio. Or
Oh, you're going to love this one then.
Yeah.
Listening public.
We have no idea what we're doing. So my experience with Rocky was weird because I watched them backwards. Because when I was a kid, have you seen any of the Rockies?
No.
What?
I saw the music video for the James Brown song, so I've seen clips of Carl Weathers in a big patriotic top hat jumping around.
The human being in me wants to make you watch Rocky 4 because that's like the acknowledged camp classic that all Americans should see.
Right.
That's the fighting the Russian, James Brown, that whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
But the stickler in me says that didn't win Best Picture for good reason.
Right.
So we have to watch this one. But that's how I did it. When I was a kid, Rocky 4 came out, and then it was on TNT or whatever constantly. And so I saw Rocky 4 first. And then I saw Rocky 3, which is the one with Mr. T, because it had Mr. T in it.
Right, yeah.
So I was like, I have to see Mr. T in a movie.
I have, like, cultural memories of all of these events and things. I've just never actually seen them.
Yeah, and then Rocky 2, the antagonist turns out to be one of the protagonists later, Apollo Creed. It's a whole weird thing. So it's very weird to go backwards. And then
so that's Carl Weathers, right? Yeah. And he's not in the first one, or is he?
We'll see. I don't remember. And I'm getting 1 and 2 confused because I saw them last, and compared to the fireworks of 3 and 4, 1 and 2 are stately and boring for a kid.
Right.
And I don't think I've seen this since high school. All I remember about 1 is it was the boringest. So it's probably the most artistic and meaningful, etc.
Well, I would imagine so. As far as what I know, all these cultural touchstones, like I said, I remember, the Rocky 4 being a big Cold War, like late era Cold War moment.
Yeah.
Where they're fighting the Russian. I thought probably signifying the Cold War wasn't that terribly serious anymore, if that's how it was manifesting itself culturally.
It was manifested over seriously, which is what makes it so fun to watch now.
I mean, in the plot, in the movie, I'm sure it was, but like as far as like in reality, like, this is what we are. Our generation, we weren't doing the drills where we were going under the desks. But we were rooting for the American over the Russian in a corny boxing movie.
It's kind of funny because I think Superman 4 came out. Have you seen the Superman movies?
Yes. I have not seen The Quest for Peace. That was 1987.
That's right.
I have a good knowledge of the years that movies came out that I didn't see.
Well, Superman 4, similar to the Rocky series, Superman got progressively stupider and stupider. Instead of Mr. T, they had Richard Pryor.
That was 3. Oh, I saw all of them up to 3.
And then 4, Superman fights this solar-powered Russian guy. And while the super-powered solar, he's a Lex Luthor creation, it's strongly implied that it was a Cold War punch-em-up.
Sure.
To keep somebody from launching, I think it was Lex Luthor launching nukes at us. I mean, it was pretty obvious that... So Superman 4 was just a redo of Rocky 4.
Oh, wow.
I think there was that span of like 4 years where every movie was a subcoded fight against the Russians. Or had Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, which was weird that he was that famous, sounding so foreign and looking so Russian. We're getting off into a weird tangent now.
But Dolph Lundgren, he was, what is he, Swedish? He's not.
He's super Swedish.
Yeah, we had a lot of and Bridget Nielsen, wasn't she in Rocky? Yeah, Danish. We have a lot of proxy people for Russians.
Oh, absolutely. I think Jean-Claude Van Damme probably fit into that.
Yeah, Belgian, make him Russian. Who cares? The weird thing, I've always been aware though that Sylvester Stallone, he wrote this movie, right? He came out of nowhere. Yeah, aside from Party and Kitty and Studs, he made that, and then he wrote an Oscar-winning movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's always blown my mind because then he went on to have the most sort of like meatheadiest kind of career. But he wrote. That's what always struck me about Rocky, as far as pop culture, how bizarre it is. Like that guy got his career winning an Oscar. Did he win it for Best Screenplay too?
Yeah, I believe
so.
He did.
Won Best Picture, and the screenplay that he wrote won Best Screenplay.
I know it was at least.
And then he was in like Cobra and all this shit or whatever when we were kids, you know?
Exactly, and I don't know if that's
Rambo.
usually...
You know, you just don't. It'd be like if finding out Arnold Schwarzenegger won a Nobel Prize in the 70s that just no one ever heard about.
He probably did. Dolph Lundgren's a PhD in rocket science.
Is he really?
Yeah.
See, yeah, you can't
I love
judge
how
a book.
I'm blowing your mind on this podcast. I don't know how much of a hand Sylvester Stallone had in writing any of the other Rocky movies. I don't know if he wrote them all, did the story, and didn't do the screenplay.
That's
I don't know the
question,
story
yeah.
there. But yeah, it's like a famous fact. That's a rare thing in the Academy for the best writing, best screenplay, and the best picture to line up. Because usually best screenplay is seen as like a consolation prize.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... It must be super well written, but that's not how I remember it.
Yeah, this will be interesting to me to watch and be like, on one hand, just like, well, finally I'm watching Rocky. And all the things that I know he yells, "Yo, Adrian," at
I don't know, maybe
Michael
he does,
Corleone's wife. Oh, that could be like one of those famous misquotes things.
Right, yeah.
He's going to be run up the steps, and then he's going to have Burgess Meredith, and then Burgess Meredith is going to die. And
okay. I don't... He
like
does,
these
but
are
I don't
all
know
things
which
that,
movie that happens in.
See, maybe that doesn't happen in the first one.
It's all mushed up in my head.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of iconography that comes out of it that I'm aware of. And
well, we'll see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to cover with this movie. I think that's pretty much it. Sylvester Stallone's career after this, you're right, did not go in that direction of him, like, penning art house movies. Didn't he start?
Well, it's sort of like Ben Affleck, right? Now he's Batman, you know, but he got his start with this Oscar.
Good Will Hunting.
Which I also haven't seen.
With the notable exception that it then won Best Picture for directing Argo.
Oh,
so like he's kind of always kept in the good
That's
graces
true.
of the Academy somehow.
Yeah, he has always kept that dimension of it.
Yeah, Stallone, I think, literally got as far away from the Academy as you could get immediately after winning for this movie. I don't think he was ever even sniffed in a nominated film, except for maybe Copland. I remember had good reviews.
Oh, I love Copland.
It's really good. I don't think it got nominated for anything, but he was like good in it.
That was James Mangold, I think, directed that.
Yeah,
you're right. He was. That's okay. That was the one thing where it's like, and he was great in it, and that was. I love that movie.
Yeah, seriously, and I think he still has he's got acting chops of a sort.
Yeah.
But it's this writing side that, like, what happened? Did he just lose interest?
He's like, I got what I want. Yeah, I think maybe it was one of those things where, like, the only way for me to break through in this business is to create something. Like, just like we can relate to that.
That's true.
Create something of my own and get noticed through that. And then once that happened, he's like, okay, now I can just do, make a fucking $1 billion.
Now I don't have to sit down and spell check myself anymore.
Exactly. Oh, God, imagine how many typos were in that script.
It's probably spelled Rockie throughout. All right.
So like the mountain range.
Let's watch some Rocky.
And the music, of course.
Well, that didn't waste any time. It's fucking Jesus.
Started out right. Philadelphia. This is the culture that Hall & Oates came out of. I'm serious.
Way.
They started doing those things.
Lighting trash on fire and singing around?
Yes. That's a part of Philadelphia musical culture. There's like the doo-wop scene, the street corner doo-wop scene.
That is so weirdly foreign to me, and I was at an a cappella choir. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That, yeah.
Did not happen in the suburbs of Denver.
I would imagine. So far, this just seems like a really weird episode of Taxi. I'm rooting for Apollo Creed. I love this guy.
I like this guy.
Best name in movie history.
The joints from walking in carry meat and not a freezer. That character actor, whoever he is, I think he's in every movie with that hat.
Yeah, probably. It's part of his thing.
Yeah.
Burt Young, I think.
Yeah. Wiping a turkey leg on his jacket. Hey, stay a while. Fuck it. Never thought I'd say this, but God, more boxing, please.
Yeah, seriously.
Is this the genesis of the training montage?
Maybe. Maybe that's why he won the Oscar. Oh, God, he picked up the pace.
Whoa.
That's actually really impressive.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to find out this is the first training montage.
Ding ding! Arms up at the top of the steps.
I thought he got followed by a crowd of kids, though, or something.
Maybe that's in a later
sequel.
Alright, could have done without that.
Now he's doing the jig? What the hell?
Now he's Lord of the Dance once he gets to the top.
Oh, is it going to freeze frame? No. That would have been exciting. Let's get ready to carnation.
Why is Herbert Hoover announcing this thing?
I can't see nothing. Gotta open my eye. Come here, Rick. Come here.
Oh, what?
Well, there's the freeze frame.
What?
Okay, then.
What?
What kind of bullshit was that?
What?
It was a tie.
How did that? Yeah, I'm kind of confused. I don't know a lot about boxing. What was the final thing that happened? I'm not even sure.
I heard a draw. And then, like, they said Apollo Creed. I guess if it's a draw and you're the champion, you get to keep your belt.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know what happened.
But, like, he did well, so he won.
He got through 15 rounds, which I didn't even know they went that high.
I imagine that's pretty rare.
I know nothing about boxing. Now, that was an exciting boxing match.
Yeah, that was good.
I was into that. It was not an exciting movie.
And but at the end, it kind of, that one line kind of, like, underscored it to me, where he was like, this guy thinks it's a real boxing match, not a show.
Right.
You know, sort of showing that the Creed party was just like, this is purely an exhibition thing, and they found some guy that's going to take it seriously, and he's screwing it up for everybody.
Right. But it was a good fight. It was a better show.
Yeah, exactly. So he put himself on the map. I guess I could see that. But that's not what I was envisioning. I did my little ding-dings for the Rocky things that are part of our cultural vocabulary now. But
what did you think? I mean, I was assuming now. I think I might have not seen this movie. Or if I did, I was drunk. Because I don't remember a lick.
So you just remember the sequels.
I remember 2, 3, and 4. And everything I said pre-show was clearly 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, yeah.
This was all new to me. And I assumed Rocky won at the end. Because I've seen a sports movie.
That's what I would have figured in the first one.
But this was a moral victory.
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't see it as like a 1970s era best picture. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that part of it.
There's plenty of gritty realism. I mean, Paulie, his friend, is nothing. He's a walking gritty realism.
Yeah, but in like a cartoonish way.
Yeah, that's true. Except when he pulls out the baseball bat and threatens to. Well,
right,
it's kind of cartoonish to us now, but like that was pretty.
That was gritty. That was a gritty thing that happened. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to marinate on this a little bit, but I'm not even sure I really like this movie a whole lot. Or at least I could definitely say I did not connect with it on any level.
No, it was kind of a chore to get through. And there was a lot of things about the story that were surprising to us. I think having cultural ideas of what Rocky is, probably that came from...
It's unsurmountable. Like if I had just
Rockies.
never heard of Rocky and saw this movie, like, oh, there's this movie from the 70s, Rocky, you should see it. I may have a completely different assessment. But yeah, based on what you assume Rocky is from having grown up and never seen it, this did not. It was very incongruous with the expectations.
He was a mob enforcer.
I didn't know that. That was not a thing. What? But too nice to break thumbs. So
I guess a nice one. And his like mob.
I like the character. I like him.
Oh yeah.
But
super sympathetic, even though he's got an IQ of maybe 7. I mean, he's
and not the typical like anti-hero of popular or lauded 70s movies, especially of the kind that won Oscars.
No, he's not. He's supposed to be a good-hearted, pure man. Now, there are things in here that are very of their time that make me not like him.
Well, right, yes. We're specifically talking about his courtship with Adrian.
Oh, my God. Who saw that coming? Not Adrian.
No one did, apparently.
He lures Adrian into his apartment, which is fine. That's, I guess, a move that's stood the test of time. But what happens next, he takes his clothes off, his shirt off, and then just sort of pressures her. And the thing is that Talia Shire plays Adrian so well. Her character in this is amazing.
She's great.
She's amazing, but she plays this character who's extremely shy and uncomfortable with pretty much everything.
Yeah, the only way I can see this being justified is that like this character was put forth as this not beyond mousy, like this very cloistered person who's kind of not allowed even to leave because of this overbearing brother.
Right.
And it took a little leverage or elbow grease on Rocky's part to get her to come out of her shell or her comfort zone.
Yes, but that happens.
But it doesn't play the way it's played in this movie is not a way that modern audiences are going to connect with at all. It seems very...
No, because like he brings her out of her... He gets her skating. He takes her ice skating. He gets her out in the first place. I mean, there's a lot of points at which he's applying pressure that would... It's a lot of pressure, but it also seems appropriate given her character.
Mm-hmm.
Get her out of her shell. Got to do some convincing to get her out of the house. Get her into an unfamiliar situation like the ice skating rink. Try to act charming, which he's really bad at. That whole date, all he proves is that she's not into boxing. But the point at which it turns for me is when he tries to get her into his apartment and then does get her an apartment is that she doesn't just act mousy anymore. She doesn't just say, act like, oh, I'm in an unfamiliar situation. She literally says no several times and says flat out, I'm uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And he drives right through that.
I agree. No, I feel the same way, but I'm just...
To kiss her without consent. And it's acted that way. She does not want to be kissed. He kisses her on the cheek. And then, of course, because it's the 70s, she's into it. Because he broke through the barriers, and that's how you're supposed to do it. That I'm going to chalk up to as of its time. But boy, was that uncomfortable to watch. I was almost going to, hide my eyes during that scene.
Yeah, there wasn't a single human interaction in this movie that I found believable.
Oh my God!
I'll put it that way. Except when people were fucking beating the shit out of each other. That was the only, vividly real thing that I'm like, all right, I see that.
I was thinking that actually when Burgess Meredith visits Rocky's apartment to sell him on being a manager, he's speaking in very weirdly Shakespearean ways, picking up a lamp and monologuing about none of it came across as I'm going to put it this way. It's a very well acted movie, but I think it's kind of poorly written.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Which we shouldn't be surprised by because here with 2018 hindsight, who would expect Sylvester Stallone to write a very good script? But I think in 1976, something blindsided them and made them think, I guess the story itself was unusual. You pointed out this is probably the first training montage.
Right. Oh, yeah. That was one thing. We're like, I mean, I asked while we were, I mean, maybe you'll play this in the podcast, but I said, is this the genesis of the training montage cliche? It might be. I just don't know enough about movies to
It felt like it. It felt like they were doing something new.
Felt like a nascent version of that.
Yeah.
But in which, if that's the case, kudos to that movie for doing it. I'm sure there's plenty of like innovative things in this movie or firsts that I just don't know enough about cinema to say. Probably
having a main character who's this unintelligent and still a protagonist. I mean, in life,
exactly. I said I'd never seen a movie where the lead character is that dumb, and the fact that he's that dumb is not the point of the movie.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that whatever Sean Penn trying to get his daughter or whatever. Remember?
Yeah, well, he went full.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it does seem like an interesting story to tell. It definitely is an underdog from the streets story. Must have all been new and exciting, and I think that's what caught.
And it's the 70s too, and they love gritty urban northeastern city tales of any kind.
Yeah, there was a string of
mean streets, whatever. It's like mean streets with people throwing punches in a ring.
I don't think there's a Best Picture winner in the 70s that does not involve gritty northeastern people committing crimes or living in, except for maybe a war movie here and there, which doesn't really alleviate the darkness.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but so I guess Rocky in that way, when he put it in that context, was a glimmeringly hopeful movie. I mean, it's a fundamentally decent person. I mean, not all that said about his first date with Adrian, how uncomfortable that is in the Me Too era. He doesn't treat her poorly. He actually saves her from a pretty shitty brother situation, and from that sense is a good dude. I mean, he's good to her. Talk more about like how there wasn't a single believable interaction for you in the movie. Like, did it keep losing you because of that, or because I think its realism was something that people thought was cool about it.
Right, and there may have been when I say that, I just mean like there was it wasn't believable to me. Like I didn't connect with any. Like, oh, I understand that interaction that they're having right now. Now, that doesn't mean it didn't play real to certain people at the time or whatever. Sure. But I mean that Paulie, the brother guy. I mean, it was a cartoonishly. I couldn't get a read. There wasn't anything real about that character. The Rocky character didn't strike me as terribly real.
Yeah.
Adrian's character seemed like a real person. That was I think a fleshed out.
I think so, but also heightens beyond a regular person, like that level of.
Oh yeah, definitely eccentric.
Weird eccentric.
Yeah. And then there was way less of Burgess Meredith than I thought there was going to be in the movie. There was way less. I mean, so it's a time thing. So you just watch older movies, which this is now.
Very old. It's 42 years old now.
And all right, easy. I was born the year after that. We don't need to do the math.
You didn't have to admit that.
Can you edit that out?
Yes. I can.
You don't have to. That just,
I think the most relatable character for me, and maybe this is for you too, in the movie, was actually Apollo Creed.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
His motivations have held up perfectly well.
Yes.
He's a showman. He's a, kind of marketing guru. He's always thinking of the angles. And every time he came up with an idea, I was like, this dude knows what's up. Like, I think at one point...
you said something.
Like, he's an Instagram influencer. He's thinking all about that. And that's brilliant if you're a boxer. That's exactly what you want to be.
And that's kind of where boxing... I don't know anything about boxing, but it definitely went there in the 80s. It may have been there in the 70s at the time this came out, but that definitely was...
Yeah, I feel like that was a Muhammad Ali reference in a sense.
Oh, his character. The first time he appeared, he did say something. I was waiting to see, like, it's going to say something sort of rhyming.
And he did.
So, that was sort of a vague,
It was like a Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier mashup.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't Ali. He didn't have the I mean, that he couldn't, because if it was anything like Ali, he'd have to be the protagonist. He'd be too interesting.
Right, yeah. And he would have had to have some sort of ethos besides...
just yay, America.
Yeah, that is very opposite of Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that was when boxing was shifted from... And I don't know a ton about the history of boxing, but I know enough about Muhammad Ali that he introduced that level of showmanship. I don't know if he was that calculating about it or if he was just this genuinely genius level, charismatic human being who captured the world's attention. But I think he was, I think that era was already in play, and they were playing with that a little bit by having Rocky be the opposite of it. I think they were, and tying him to Burgess Meredith, trying to set up this old school versus new school type of a conflicts, because as we both Apollo's not a bad guy in this movie. He doesn't take a single move to swipe at Rocky or denigrate him, or even during the fight.
We were saying, we were expecting to have this sort of wholesale denigration against Rocky because he's this nobody, and here's this flashy guy.
He doesn't even really condescend to him in the press conference.
No.
Not even for show. They treated Rocky super well.
Right.
Better
but
than
I think that's
treated
not
Rocky
what
3 and 4, trust me.
Right, and that's probably from later Rocky movies and other underdog stories that we've seen since then. But I just don't think, that wasn't the what drove the plot of this movie, which is, again, I know for my part, I just expected a whole different set of plot points from this movie than that were actually in it.
It's really not a boxing movie until the last 10 minutes. It's a movie about a boxer.
Yeah, I was expecting way more boxing.
Yeah. I mean, you brought up Raging Bull.
Yeah.
At one point, and that's a boxing movie.
Yes.
There's a lot of boxing in it, and then every once in a while they give you some comic relief where they follow the boxer around a little bit. This was the opposite. Mm-hmm. And maybe that was... it's an interesting movie. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, but it is interesting in that the underdog story doesn't require any heavy-handedness, and it ends in a tie. I mean, it's soft pedals, which is admirable, and you still do feel like Rocky won something.
Yeah, it's just sort of a character study, I guess, of this kind of simpleton that you like. I don't know.
Why did it stand the test of time? The sequels?
Yeah. Honestly, no. I would say
so.
The sequels.
Yeah.
There were 6 of them, or 4. It went up to Rocky 5, and then there was Rocky Balboa,
and then there's the 2 Creed movies.
And the 2 Creed, yeah. So our culture is steeped in the Rocky aegis. I don't know what the right word is. But, so yeah, that's done it. The fame of Sylvester Stallone has done it.
Sure.
But if you didn't have those things, I don't think that movie would stand up with the rest of the pantheon of 70s cinema at all.
I don't think so either. I don't think
just based on what I just saw and what I'm thinking right now. I might change my mind when I wake up in the morning after I've thought about it. But
I don't think you will.
Probably not. I doubt it.
It'd be interesting. It's interesting that you haven't seen the sequels, because I feel like if you'd filtered it through that, there's more zeitgeisty things going on, especially in 3 and 4, that make sense that Rocky was cemented in the pantheon of iconic American characters.
Right? Yeah.
This, I honestly feel like the sequels wouldn't have happened if this didn't surprisingly win the Academy Award. So in a sense, I feel like the Academy gave birth to a mainstream blockbuster iconic American character, and I can't think of another time where the Academy Awards were proactive,
right? Yeah,
generating that kind of a heat behind something instead of either reacting to it or ignoring it altogether. Because you could say Jaws, Superman, all the Indiana Jones, a lot of the other kind of iconic movies from the late 70s, early 80s, they had their sequels, but it was the original movie that cemented it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that with Rocky. I think when most people think of Rocky, they think of Rocky 4.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
That can only explain what I just saw and my cultural understanding of Rocky.
Yeah, of a good versus evil, beloved, famous boxer He's the opposite of that in this movie. I'm already out of steam on Rocky.
I'm spent.
All right. Well, thank you so much for,
Well, my pleasure. Finally, this is one of the main movies that I get made fun of for not having seen, or people get angry, when you haven't seen movies. Like when I found out you hadn't seen The Godfather, I got mad.
You did.
But I'm sure that will be covered.
I'll watch that later.
Do not watch them out of order. Like I said, you're robbing yourself of a wonderful experience. Those are wonderful movies with Talia Shire. And like I said, you will see her wonderful range as an actress. It'll take you a minute to even recognize her in the Godfather movies based on this.
Okay. I believe you, but I also feel beholden to the randomness. No, I don't. We were going to watch $1 Million Baby, and then I found out you hadn't seen Rocky. And
oh my God, you're giving away the secrets. The behind the nuts and bolts.
Behind the... I don't know.
I combined two metaphors there.
Well, there's something behind a nut or a bolt.
That's
usually
true.
Behind a bolt is a nut.
Washer.
That too. Is there anything you'd like to plug while you're on this very popular podcast?
I'm on shows routinely here in Austin. Follow me on Twitter.
Okay.
Mike MacRae, and follow me on Facebook, Mike MacRae.
Yeah. Thanks for watching Rocky with me. And now not only have you seen it, but if anybody calls you on it,
I can say, not only did I see it, I saw it on a podcast.
Yeah, public proof.
Yes.
Google it. Mike MacRae Rocky. This is going to fucking come up.
I hope so.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, rate us on iTunes. Make us famous. Make us popular. This is a popular movie, so I hope it gets more listeners. I don't mean to sound that depressed about it. I think it's the Rocky and me talking.
You're an underdog now.
I'm an underdog now. Good night.